Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Meeple has landed.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Vitruvian Meeples production of the Powers That Be Acclaim the Sky campaign. As always, I am Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple, joined here by Patrick, ECAT, Matt, Julie, and Ray, here for issue 20. Can you believe it? Can you believe we made it to issue 20? No signs of stopping now. But with that, I will pass it over to our GM, Patrick. Patrick, please take us back into the world of Excelsior.
All right. So last we left our illustrious heroes. All heck is still breaking loose in their neighborhood. The circus has come to town, and everybody's going to cry out loud. You're welcome. With some research, of course, they have found that not only is the circus on Rikers Island, but also their old enemies from In Memoriam have made an appearance, which is just great, having a whole bunch of very violent and in some cases already deceased mercenaries working across the way. The person who seems to be in charge of all of this, their friend Will, also known as oh shoot, what is that?
Erebus.
Right, Erebus is missing currently. He seems to be off planet, as far as anybody can tell, along with perhaps several of his friends. So this might even seem like a prime time to do something about what's going on across the street, but probably not. So the group is trying to recruit some allies and get things working this way or that. And so, time is crawling on. And when last we met, we ended with Crash receiving a request to go to the Hellbender Club to speak to his contact, Mr. X. And of course, the time for Gen X's big date is drawing nigh upon us. We will start tonight in the conference room as everybody is getting ready to decide what they're going to do. So, take it away. Who's up first?
So, had we decided that Jackdaw was going to come with me, or am I doing this solo?
That's all up to you guys.
I can certainly come along.
I mean, I'm not worried about being able to hold my own.
Well, no, I realize that. I just, you know, if you need an analyst with you,
sure.
And I'm also may want to lean on your contact, see if I can source some hardware.
I think I know a guy. All right, so the two of us will truck over to Hellbender. Jean, best of luck to her.
You sure you don't want company? I can offer company.
Oh.
You are otherwise occupied tonight.
I don't have to be.
I cannot promise that I won't plant a camera on you somewhere.
You let Alexis and I get you ready for your date. Let the boys go off and do their thing.
Son, this is just a date. It's not an execution. I have been to both.
Mention that.
What?
I mean, this is Jean. It's going to turn into a Gen execution.
I don't
Go.
Yeah, you
I
out.
will deal with you later.
Okay, zip, gone.
All right. On this note,
Fine. Fine.
Okay, so
so
Crash and Jackdaw are both heading off to the club.
Yep.
yeah, before I leave, I just slide a packet of condoms and a small caliber pistol over to Gen X. Just make sure you're protected, buddy.
Oh, if only.
Knock
I
her dead,
slide
champ.
them off to the other side, just to not even look at that or them or anything. I'll just sit here and be fine.
So we'll say that this is, still fairly early. So you have, let's say, maybe 8 hours until it's dark out, at which point you assume that's around time to hit the streets and figure out where your date's hiding. Because, of course, she hadn't actually planned a proper location to meet, just a general idea.
And what was that general idea again? I assume at the coffee shop? At
Near the coffee shop, but of course you'll be, both all dressed up, so that means you won't be meeting in the coffee shop. She works there after all.
Yeah, well, it's true, but got
Some
Not
nearby
exactly
roof or
keep-
something.
yeah, not exactly keeping track of those details.
All right, so do Paw or Black Ice have any plans for the early part of the day?
I figure we got to keep Gene from running away from his date.
That's what the roll of duct tape's for.
Great, just dump him off on the roof. Here you go. Have fun with him.
Not
I
helping.
haven't seen him in months.
I didn't say we were helping.
We're happy.
Great.
Nothing
Epic,
is
yeah.
so helpy as a cat. And
And a crow.
Yeah.
So we still have all day, do we?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So do we need to talk about what you're wearing tonight? Where you might,
Do we need to
want to
have the
possibly
talk
go?
with
We
you?
seem to have lost Jackdaw.
Did.
Do we need to have the talk with you, Gene? I mean, it's been a while for you.
Yeah. And would you like to know why it's been a while for me?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Because you really seem to be getting very worked up over this.
I'm
And
very sad that I've left the room.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are. So, let's take a walk through the time machine, shall we? To the last time that good old Gene had any sort of dealings with a member of the female species. See, I was finally feeling accepted and was starting to have a good time with the Queen's Guard, and then spotted this we had just finished this really intense battle with Grendel and some of his lackeys, and there was this young lady standing there, and she was kind of had her eye on me, and I simply greeted her politely and said hello. And she looked at me with this sly look, as these girls tend to do, and she slipped me a piece of paper, and on it was a phone number, and I'm like, okay. So I just kind of trot home with an extra jump in my step and give that number a call a few hours later, and we set up a wonderful date. Monique was just lovely. Oh, it was fun. We had a good time. We liked some of the same things. We set up another date, and things were going pretty good, I thought. Um, kind of had this, just started to have this kind of nagging background, just sort of, I don't know, concern. I tried to play it off. It wasn't important. I was having fun. Everything was gonna be fine, right? Sure. So, um, we still continue to date. I'm ignoring these little nagging feelings that I'm having. And then after, interestingly enough, another battle with Grendel and his chumps. And I don't know if you may have read about this one a while ago, but it was a doozy. It took the better part of a day that we had to protect our little area from detonations and fallout, and just, I forget if it was biohazard or what, but whoo, that was a tough one. And Monique met me afterward and said said that she was so proud of me, and I said, we should actually, here, I'm gonna treat you, and we should do something special. So we went to this restaurant, and we had dinner, and next thing I know, I'm waking up in my bedroom, and half of my things were gone, including my Led Zeppelin box set. Turns out I was dating the Black Widow. You want to know who Monique is? She's Lumiere's sister. Whereas Lumiere deals in light and light damage, Monique deals in darkness. She implants doubt. She implants dread in her victims. And I fell into this depression that I could not get out of. It knocked me out. Like I was out cold for a day. And you want to know the kicker?
Mhm.
Calamity looks just like her, except with red hair.
Okay, then.
So yeah, I dated the villain sister of a villain and didn't know it. I might have a little bit of insecurity when it comes to the opposite sex. Ta-da!
Hey, she
That
didn't take
skeleton's
your
up.
kidney or anything when she knocked you out, so you got that going for you.
That's not her thing. I've heard of that, but yeah, it was my Led Zeppelin box set, though. Come on.
He'd have missed the kidney less.
He's crafty, just my style. No Beastie Boys fans? Come on.
Like
Feel
but
like I'm
not,
being
but not,
sabotaged.
not a like really know most of their stuff.
Would it
So-
make you feel better if Paw and I stayed in the background and kept an eye on you?
Tailed you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Tail, you know, basically tail
Oh,
you.
tail. Oh, I'm like, you have the tail. I don't want the tail. You had, oh, tail. Okay, yes, yes.
Or the crows. I can ask the crows to keep an eye on you.
Both.
Yeah. And lock up your replacement Led Zeppelin here in the office.
Or just, yeah.
Get the
You
crow.
do have a place to store precious things. You know,
Mhm.
it only has a couple bits of orange rock, a robot dog, and some other miscellaneous. Oh, and a cane.
Mhm.
So you can put your Led Zeppelin collection there.
Yep.
It won't be.
Have
any
the
safer.
crows watch the bro.
Yeah. Knox will keep an eye on you.
Crows before bros.
Make sure the hose is on the up and up.
And in the fire department.
I was going to go with the rubber hose joke, but that works too.
Ba-dum-dum.
You gotta be quicker than that.
I know. And too.
Even if I am safe and I don't lose a kidney or my Led Zeppelin or my really good denim jacket, I don't know what I'm gonna say to her. I mean, she's really like
Cute.
attractive and
She's cute.
I'm doing good trying to relate to all of you. And yeah.
No, I mean, start with the basics. Ask her what kind of music she likes, favorite types of, foods. Like if she has any hobbies, just,
Let
She
her
likes
do the majority
implanting
of
the
the
feeling of
talking.
dread in her potential victims. Oh, with
Let
her, I
her
guess
do
it'd be
the
bullets
talking.
now, wouldn't it? Huh?
Just let her do the talking. Pay attention to her. You'll be fine.
Let me think. Sure, I'll be fine. What happened last time? I was so fine.
I mean, it was fine, but
All right. Okay.
okay.
If you will come along,
Yes.
have
Discreetly.
Knox.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get the Led Zeppelin and anything else stored in the office,
All right.
and we can pick out what you're gonna wear tonight.
Okay.
Give you plenty of time, think about where you're gonna, once you track her down, figure out, have plans, A and B, so she doesn't have someplace specific that she wants to go of possible places to take her, that's not the coffee shop.
Can run at least be somewhere along J or K on the list?
Well, Crash dies in Plan M, so we probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That actually makes me feel better. All right.
Strangely enough, me too.
Very,
Okay.
very vague leverage reference.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Love it.
I mean,
All right.
I'm taking things that I still haven't, watched for 1,000, Alex.
Yeah.
you do need to watch it.
Listen, we've got like 2 episodes left of Stranger Things season 4. We're attempting to watch Andor again to see if maybe, it doesn't. We got like 2 episodes in the first time. We'll add lovers to the list.
I mean,
Anyway,
for the date, y'all do know where a bar is.
yeah, downstairs.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
It is safe.
have a drink, go for something to, go for something to eat, maybe a little bit of a walk.
Okay.
Keep it all nice and public. It's not like really, you don't need to take her back to your place on the first date, so
Yeah.
No. Not gonna do that. Nope. Big ass no. Yep. Nope. Not gonna do that. You bet. That's not what we're gonna do.
and now we're getting into Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers copyright infringement, because that was just
We've lost radio contact with Gene.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, you can also take her to the circus, it's
Not Helping.
And I'm gonna assume that Crash and Jack are actually texting with us, and we're like rapid fire texting back and forth, so they actually are a part of the
I
conversation.
broke into Gene's phone. You better believe there's, some spyware in there now.
At this point, Crash will neither deny nor deny that there is in fact a listening device in Gene's phone.
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean,
Right?
Yeah.
the comedy just makes itself happen.
Yes,
So much
it does.
Okay.
All right. So here, help me
So,
figure
we have-
out.
We have a plan.
Okay.
You
Go
have a
pick
plan.
you out a
All
wardrobe.
right. So, change of scene. Meanwhile, so Jack and Crash take the elevator upstairs to the lobby, walk out of the lobby, make a left out the front door, a left immediately into the bar that is inside of your building, and go into the new and special version of the Hellfire Club. Of course, it's Hellbender. It's of course a fairly regular bar on this side. So you go into the by the restrooms where they have a phone booth.
Go lay down.
It already looked like it was built weeks ago. It already looks like it has about 10 years of grime inside of it. People may have been doing things in here you don't want to think about, but the phone doesn't look terrible because nobody uses a payphone anymore.
Yeah.
Except for you guys. So you pop your quarters in, and you appear, of course, on the other side in the Hellbender Club. And if you would like, you could both make a mic check to see if you're able to keep your lunch intact.
Well, it was a pretty fantastic Taco Tuesday, so
So this is mic defense.
Yes.
What's the difficulty?
The difficulty is 4.
Okay. No.
Y'all are starting to get used to it.
That's the thing. Okay, at this point, I've been here enough times. Can I say I have an asset in this? Or that I'm basically trained in entering the Hellbender Club?
Yes, you can get an asset on it.
Excellent. I can add 1 level of effort for no cost. And 20!
Oh.
Oh,
So what major effect would you like to have when you first appear?
I would like Mr. X to be able to set us up with some high munitions contacts, as per Jack's request.
Excellent. That sounds like a wonderful idea. You go in the back, and there, of course, is sitting Mr. X in his usual shaded corner, trying to look all, innocuous and
failing
potentially
miserably.
dangerous. Oh, always, of course. And look, he's played by a very famous actor.
All you're missing is the hooded cloak and the long pipe. Other than that, I think Viggo Mortensen wants his copyright back. Say, without changing expression or turn or expression or posture, I shout, obviously back to Jack. Yes, I've seen a geek movie. Try not to faint.
Meanwhile, Jack is reciting the entire script in the back of his head.
Well, he seems foul, but maybe he's fair.
When you got it, flaunt it.
Yes.
So, you wished an audience?
Oh, yes. This is something you will be very interested in, I'm quite sure. We have found a person within STEM, another person, I should say, who is interested in our cause.
Mm-hmm.
And we would like you to make contact with them to persuade them to see things our way.
I'm not exactly the most personable member of this group, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
I mean, is this a bad cop situation here?
Actually, amusingly, villains and other superheroes are not affected by my inability for social interaction. So if they are actually a super person or close enough, I actually am just fine.
Unfortunately for you,
Yeah.
they are a scientist.
Oh, good.
Great.
Yes, they spent some time working for the Bureau of Ordnance Operation Management, who, of course, make all of the weaponry and other fun gizmos that STEM agents use. Yes, yes, boom. I'm glad you understand that they're very clever over there, but has since been working a bit with doing some research about individuals' abilities, and is a bit closer to how things operate over there than a lot of people, and brings a lot of knowledge with them that perhaps we could use, and I'm fairly certain you could use.
All right.
So we go to Shush Boom Factory, where Moose and Squirrel.
Come on. That trick never works.
Damn it.
So this individual is fairly local. They work out of the Manhattan STEM facility, the gym and training facility currently, hence their expertise with weapons is coming into use, because those are, of course, used very much in people's training. I don't
So-
understand that, of course, because the STEM agents use the same weapons against those people when they get out of line, but who am I? Still seems to
So
work.
the GAT facility?
Yes.
Yeah, all the people that work there are referred to as Gatlings. You make that face enough, you're going to have to give me an XP. You know that, right?
That is a good one, I'll have to admit. So with that, though, since this involves, of course, somebody who is expert on advanced ordnance, I have heard that through the grapevine, over the last few minutes since you last discussed this, down in your own place somehow, because I am a character of the GM, and therefore I have advanced knowledge of things. You're perhaps interested in some munitions of your own.
Well, yeah,
at this point, I sidestep and you step behind Jack, and if he doesn't walk up, I kind of elbow him in the back gently.
Yeah, I could use to upgun a little bit. We
Understood.
Maybe.
There's some dangerous things happening.
Yes, and some unpleasant folks have come to town.
Yes, and we don't want a replay of what happened with that one notable teenage superhero group where they had a person with this amazing ability to speak every language, who of course ended up having to die because he couldn't go anywhere in a fight, and their fans didn't like him. But
Yeah,
so
that's rough. I mean,
So
his code name was oddly familiar, though.
Yes.
yes, it was.
It's almost like a role-playing game
Yeah.
system.
So if you would like, there is a person I know who collects interesting things from all over the world. Does a bit of arms dealing, a bit of scavenging, just all sorts of fun things inside of the warehouse. I can give you an address for that if you would be interested. You'll have to deal with your negotiations yourself, though.
Understood. An address and at least a invite, so he knows visitors are coming.
Okay. pulls out a notepad from his pocket, writes down on it, rips the paper off, and hands it to you. Because,
Okay.
of course, we know electronic transmissions cannot be trusted anywhere.
Yep.
And it is a
Air gap sneaker net.
address inside of the Bronx.
Okay.
Looking at it, you figure it looks like it's over at Hunts Point.
I assume he has also slid over the stereotypical manila folder with information about the person we're supposed to actually contact.
For you, he pulls out his notebook, writes down a little bit on it, splits it across the table, and it has a address and a name on it. And the address is in Manhattan, in just off of Midtown, and it is called the Founders Diner. And just if you're there long enough, the person should approach you. They, I believe, know who you are.
I know, I'm getting it.
That's at the same point.
So, unlike your
comforting
previous
environment.
contacts with us, they will not have the tattoo of any sort because they haven't come over yet.
Sure.
Hopefully, you will be able to persuade them to join us.
We'll do our level best.
Excellent. Well, I imagine the person will not be appearing there until at least after work hours because, well, they still have a job and they still want to keep that job so they can still be useful to us.
Yes.
At least that's what we want. If they try to outright defect from STEM, that will be difficult. They have a lot of resources.
There we go.
We specialize in different.
Lena. Lena.
So you finish your drinks. He goes back to doing whatever it is that he does when he's not actually talking to you, just sitting in that booth. Which, for all you know, he may just be an extension of.
And
so, anyone else you wish to speak to while you're at the club?
I'm actually going to go up to Hellbender himself.
Okay. He's there polishing the bar with a rag.
Yep.
It's fairly
Marcus.
early in the day, which means there's only about a dozen miscreants in the place.
So, since I've gone ostensibly legit, I don't have my ear to the ground the way I used to. If you hear anything that might be of interest, you'll let me know, won't you?
Oh, certainly. Especially since you gave us such a permanent location to connect to. Makes my job a bit easier.
We are nothing if not accommodating. Then I reach out and I shake his hand with a 20 in it.
He takes it quite expertly.
Oh, this is not the first time we've done this
nope,
dance.
it just vanishes from your hand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is not the first time we've done this dance. I grab a coin out of the glass bowl, flip it, catch it, give him not quite a wink, but the head gesture that would go along with one, and we make our exit.
And whoop, you go from one bar into the other.
So, the Bronx, he says.
Yeah, so we doing toys or boys first?
Well, if the scientist isn't going to be around until at least dinner time, it's still morning. Up for a bit of a drive.
Sure.
I don't think I could carry you all the way to the Bronx.
I mean, I'm not that heavy, man.
I'd make some comment about look at me, but really, My might is 17 and my might edge is 4. So I
Right.
may actually be the strongest person in the party.
Yeah, I mean, I did just eat my own body weight in tacos,
You
but
did, yes.
Wait a second. What did you say your might is?
My might score is 17. My edge is 4.
Yeah, I'm just behind you with 16, but my edge is only 1.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, so we take the Humvee is so conspicuous.
yeah,
You
can
guys
we?
could take some part of your afternoon to score yourself another vehicle.
We
You
could.
have room in the garage.
Sure.
Or you could try stealing one of those Excelsior police smart cars that are really tiny, and I don't know what kind of tickets those things give out, but
I'm actually tempted to go try to steal one of the vehicles from the in memoriam camp. You know, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because this is Crash. Yep.
I mean, isn't that how we got the Humvee in the first
Pretty
place?
much, yeah. So yeah.
the only downside to that is that their vehicles largely consist of military vehicles. Getting a Deuce and a Half or an M1 Abrams tank might be slightly difficult.
Challenge
Well,
accepted.
They're not terribly inconspicuous, is the thing.
Someone had to drive there in a Honda.
D'accord, yeah.
Let me see
No.
what I can find. And I go zipping
Or
off invisible.
You
the
know
whole
a
way.
guy
Yeah.
who has a wrecking shop too. Thinking about that because the Trash Squatch runs an auto yard.
Yep.
Trashy.
Yep. So yeah, I am actually gonna go over to the in memoriam compound and see what I can boost. I am invisible the whole time because I can do that for free now.
So the two challenges that you run into is on the way in, of course, there are still guards on the bridge. So depending on the size of the vehicle, you might be able to drive through them, but there are a few.
Yeah.
And inside of the in memoriam camp, in spite of the fact that you have your usual collection of tactical yahoos amongst the actual mercenary soldiers and everyone else, you do not see them having brought any vehicles with them. The parking lots are largely empty. So they must have been shuttled in here or ferried in here.
Was at least trying.
Once again, you see like a couple of the very large transport trucks that the Army's been using forever.
I'm going for less conspicuous here.
Oh, and a couple Abrams personnel carriers too. They seem to have like some surprisingly very military things in their collection.
All right.
But inconspicuousness is not one
Bradley's,
of the call signs.
not Abrams.
Yes, Bradley's. No, they do have Abrams too. There's a couple tanks sitting out there.
Well, yeah, you just don't move people in those much.
Well, like
very slowly.
5 of them, I think. I think that's the limit inside.
Okay, so then can I get a beat on where they're shuttling people from?
It will take you a little work, but since you guys have had surveillance on the place, the in memoriam soldiers have not been crossing the bridge on the southern side of the island.
Okay.
Which leaves that they could have been flown in, but you haven't caught any helicopters coming and going either. So that means that they must have been going to the dock on the northern part of the island.
Okay.
You do know that the Adam family has been keeping an eye on that side of the island from up on their side, from the fish market. They can see the whole damn thing, and they do love their fish market.
Yep. So I think I'll tap into Paw on the comms. Hey there.
Yes.
So it looks like In Memoriam's getting their people onto the island here through ferries. No cars, no helipad. Not many options left. I know that your folks have been keeping an eye on that, on the dock on the northern part of the island. Yes?
Mhm. Yes.
Mind patching me through and give me an intro to someone who might be able to give us some info?
Let me see who I can dig up. I'm not sure who's around. I might actually have to pop over there. So give me a moment.
Sure. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
I do 12 laps around the compound.
In the meantime, can I just, while he's doing this, go visit Trashy?
Yes, you can go over and visit the trash watch. So his joint is so it's still the junkyard, has the shop in it and a couple of cars in various states of disrepair here and there, and just piles of car parts all over the place. And he's hanging out there underneath a car welding something, because you can see sparks flying all over the place.
Hey, buddy, got a minute?
Slides out from underneath on one of those little carts, of course. Turns off his acetylene torch. Oh yeah, hey, what's
Hey.
up?
You feeling all right?
I'm feeling wonderful. I haven't, hurt people since I talked to you guys. It turns out, yeah. So I've been good.
Excellent. Hey, you don't happen to have any functional vehicles for sale?
Yes, actually, I do. Do you want a good vehicle or do you want a reasonable vehicle?
Want something relatively inconspicuous and reliable?
Okay, we can totally do that. Follow me to my parking lot over here. Takes you along the side, and there's a array of 5 vehicles. One of them is obviously not going anywhere ever again. It has a gigantic footprint right in the middle of the roof. Whatever stepped on it, its footprint's at least 5 feet long. You're pretty certain that hopefully they had the super attack rider on their insurance, because otherwise nothing else was going to pay for the damage that totaled this thing.
Yeah, that's a parts car.
They have an old Oldsmobile. Looks in reasonable shape. It's a standard like white Delta 88, from back in the 80s. Still in
Ooh,
working
God.
condition, though.
Really?
I have flashbacks of replacing a radiator on one of those. Ooh.
So
Yeah, did the brakes work?
GM intrusion.
Sorry. Just-
I sense
there's
backstory here.
yes.
There's also along similar lines with the older vehicles. There's a Geo Metro, very inconspicuous, nay impossible to see on the road. There's also a Honda Civic and a Suburban.
I mean, Civic's more practical and less conspicuous. The Suburban will fit all of us. And isn't a Hummer. But parking is going to be a bitch.
Only Crash could phase vehicles once it's being driven, and so we just slide into a spot that's occupied by another vehicle.
Hey, that would be a neat trick.
I have no idea if I'm actually going to be able to do that at some point or not. Probably do it with a power stone.
Worth it for Manhattan parking.
Right?
All right. So,
Meanwhile, Crash,
Yes.
you hear back from Pa. Pa is able to get some information from her folks that indeed it does seem that they are parking not too far away from Marina Del Rey up on the up on the Bronx. It's yeah, they seem to be running some sort of ferry service out of there for their people. It's a sizable-ish boat, and so there are a bunch of vehicles that are there in kind of a long-term parking situation. So that's where they believe that they are storing their vehicles currently.
Okay. I want something reliable. It doesn't have to be too fancy. I don't need all the bells and whistles. Just something that'll get us to work and to and from, I don't know, grocery shopping. I boost something as inconspicuous as possible.
So you're looking at the vehicles for inconspicuous ones, and one draws your attention.
Okay.
It's a one of the old school Mustangs, like an old GT model. The hood has been modified a bit to bump up and all, and has the cutout for the blower that sticks out the top of it. You think this thing has to fucking just roast when being driven. Or you could get that nice, reasonable car over there.
Be back for you, baby. I take the inconspicuous one.
Okay, so you're pulling out in a Hyundai Elantra,
Okay.
and of course it. Actually, let's see.
Dear Hyundai, please don't
While
sue
we're at
us. Concurrent viewers 0. I think we're good.
Let's see, which skill would be the closest to boosting a car? Figure that would be a lock picking type of thing.
I think yeah. Lock picking sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, because if you can, pick the door and the ignition, you're gone.
Yeah.
So, and let's say that boosting a car for ease's sake is a 4.
Okay. Let's see. So, trained lock picking brings it down to 1. I assume my deck shifts come into play here.
Oh, yes.
So, you said it's a 4. Let's see. If I put 1 level of effort, that'll cost me 2 speed. Nah, that's so dangerously. I'm going to roll against a final difficulty of 1. There you go.
Yay!
I have committed.
Fortunately, that
mercy.
wasn't much more difficult.
If it was more difficult than that,
Shocking.
I probably would have thrown some effort at it.
There's a high chance that at some point you may murder the person who owns the car anyway.
Not wrong.
Okay, so you get in the car, start heading over. So Jack, are you thinking of picking up either of those vehicles while you're there?
I think the Suburban. It's the compromise between, not sticking out like the Hummer and actually being able to fit the team if we need to.
At the team and some gear. Gear is always important, especially for you.
Yep.
As long as we're the only Suburban in the caravan, I think we'll be okay. Suburbans get more conspicuous the more of them are in a line.
Well, yeah,
And
if they're
and
black.
so you are going to meet each other at the Skeety Hunts Point warehouse.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Well then, let's head back to see what is going on with the rest of the team.
Oh, let's.
So some time has now passed. It's been a couple hours. You're under no circumstances completely freaking out about this.
Hmm.
So the question is, do you feel like perhaps getting coffee, although she may be working?
No, I think I have enough of the jitters as it is. I'm good. I'm going natural with this one.
Do we need to go take a walk and work off some of these jitters?
Yeah, I guess. Let's see what else is around here.
You know,
Scope out the local restaurants.
Find you a
I
place
hear-
to take her for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
you know, I hear a new Flint-stoned franchise just opened up. You need to relax a little bit.
Is it Yabba Dabba Delicious?
It'll give you a yabba dabba doobie.
Okay.
All
The
right,
owner
come
is
on, let's
fried.
go for a walk. Let's go
Note
find
to
you a
self,
restaurant.
Flint-stoned in Syracuse. Please do not sue me.
All right. So we head out of the joint and we walk the opposite direction of the Sunbucks, just to make sure. Because I've noticed, like, I've seen places, but I haven't really noticed places.
Yeah.
Not like as when I was with Queen's Guard, and well, you know the restaurant industry, things change
Mhm.
in a matter of minutes.
Yeah. Besides, I think introducing any caffeine into your system right now might not be a great idea. I'd be far more inclined to take you someplace to have you do a shot or two.
Right. Okay.
So as we're
Um,
walking, I signal for Knox to come join us. And I whisper into his ear to let us know where there's a good place to get some good food by human standards.
yes.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to qualify things.
And just to let us know when we're close to something.
Okay, so you're traipsing around your neighborhood, and of course, Dittmar Steinway is under no circumstances tiny. So you have a lot of space to cover that you can go through, although a lot of it, of course, is residential. And spattered amongst the residential areas are, of course, bodegas and other, hole-in-the-wall restaurants. So you're cruising around, and eventually you reach a place that Knox, several of Knox, decides to land near in front of, on the sign of, and start making a ruckus to themselves.
This gets 5 review. So
Okay.
Wow. What magazine did you read that from? The Bird in Hand?
the birds themselves.
Well,
Up.
that's lovely. Help me find parking.
The subscription for that is really expensive. It's quite a burden.
Really does murder on your budget.
Everyone's been raving about it, though.
About that experience point you were hoping for.
You take one away.
Yep.
We'll just have to check the tweets on it later.
Yeah, that joke murdered.
Sorry. It's all for a good cause, though.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
so
I
you
would
find a
exactly.
suggest
place.
scoping out the menu, making sure one, it's in your price range, and two, it's something you'd eat, kind of thing.
No embarrassing allergies, you know.
That too.
Oh yeah. So
So you find a nice hole in the wall Greek joint, uh, named Konstantinos's family restaurant, home of the souvlaki, of course. Not just any
Course.
souvlaki, the souvlaki. There's only the one.
oh, of course.
So it looks like, you know, a surprisingly nice place.
Okay. Can't remember
And
the
the
last
purveyor
time I
goes
was in a
out and
place
starts
like
waving a
this.
broom towards the crows.
All right. Uh so I now is this just a sit down? And you say it's like a
Primarily, yes.
okay.
It's not as much hole in the wall as just small. So it's one of those, you know, occupies the corner of the building, has stairs to go on down into the basement for some extra seating, and that's where probably the bathrooms are.
Okay.
But it is done up nicely.
All right. So I look for one of the wait staff.
It is fantastically easy to find somebody, as mentioned. The owner is outside trying to swat the crows with a broom because he is not happy that he is having an invasion. He's having no luck at hitting any of them, of course.
Okay. I noticed this and immediately like kick it, hightail it to him, and I go like, no, 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 stop, 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 stop. That you really don't want to do that. And I just kind of give a little bit of a little click click and look for to Neva. It's like throw him some give him
I give a whistle and like walk away a little bit, and they follow me along.
and I turn back to the gentleman. It's like, seriously,
Oh,
you don't
thank you
want
for
them on your
saving me from those crows.
I this is
Those
more
things
for
are
you.
endemic around here. You will not believe how much food they will steal.
You would not believe my answer to that. But anyway, um, so I have not had the pleasure of frequenting your establishment yet. I'd like to know if reservations are required for dinner.
Reservations help.
They help.
Make sure you have a table. What kind of table do you want? Nice table, fancy table, romantic table.
Let's go with nice. Nice is good. We can do nice. Nice is fine.
Okay. Excellent. What name is this under?
Um, let's say Jean.
Great. Gene, what time would you like?
That's a damn good question. Um, I look at my watch and see that it is
Currently, it's like, you know, getting around 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Okay. 6 o'clock, please.
Okay. And how many of you will there be?
Um, two. Oh, that reminds me. How busy does your place get in a typical, I'm assuming it's a weekday.
Yes.
Okay, typical weekday evening. Is it particularly busy?
We usually have a table or two open, but sometimes we don't.
Okay. And I'd also like to reserve another table, if I may. Um, for also for 6, but they might be a little late arriving, except if it's at all possible, I would like the tables to be far away from each other.
Hey guys, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope that's not
think we
asking
can.
too much.
I think we can arrange for that. Let me make a note. Typing away his little computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He kind of looks at all of you like, all right. And what's the name on the second table?
And I just look over and I look back and I say, Nevada, please.
Okay, Nevada. All right. I'll see you tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate your help very much. It was very nice, especially for not hitting the crows. Thank you.
Now,
Well, he tried. He just wasn't successful.
overheard what he just requested for the second table. I surreptitiously pull out my tablet and start typing away to hack the reservations to move us closer to Gene.
Do you want
Not
him to give him
next
the
to,
romantic?
but close to, within.
Do you want to
line
give
of
him the
sight.
romantic table while we're at it?
No, but just line of sight, earshot of table.
Yeah.
And I'm just typing away as we walk along. I lean over and I show Alexis what I had just done.
Give her a thumbs up.
And I probably would have said Alexis, except I couldn't remember that was your actual name. I only know you by Paw. It says Paw of Justice, not Paw. It says Alexis of Judge. Okay, so sorry. That's I did what I knew, man.
Alexis
It's
of Justice
okay.
is kind of awkward as a hero name, though.
Yeah.
Like the dyslexic justice.
Okay, so do you want to go in street clothes or in full on going out heroing gear?
No hearing. No.
She seemed
I
to
think-
indicate that she was expecting to run into you in your hero getup.
Hmm.
Fortunately for you, how you normally dress in your hero outfit's not that far off, because like your regular street clothes are like 1990s, and your hero outfit is 1980s, so it's not too bad.
We'll
You can change
split
out the jean jacket
difference.
for a hoodie.
Or just layer, hoodie under jean jacket.
Yeah. No, I think I have something that she'll notice. Call it a hunch. I do not want to know what Jack just thought.
Okay.
Okay, so where are you heading off to next?
Like, well, I think either before or after going to a bar just to have might be a good idea. And I look around to see if there's like within on the block, maybe across the street, if there's anything that looks decent, not
Okay,
icky.
I have a section of the map because I just get inspiration from pulling up the neighborhood on the on maps. There is a lounge across the street. It looks like a good place to get a drink, named Caligula.
I'm not going in there.
And we've lost Jack.
Why, it's not Leisure Suit Larry's?
That place was underrated.
Yeah, If
Yeah,
any
a
of
lot
you
of
out
fun
there
with
watching
AJ.
this actually get that joke, congratulations, you're just as old as we are.
Don't forget to get your colonoscopy scheduled.
Right?
Next year.
Get your PSA if you have one. Prostate, that is. And
All right.
Yeah.
So I make a mental note of that. Here, if I make enough plans and schedules and other stuff, it'll detract me from any sense of the abject terror that seems
I
to be
know.
dawning.
Okay, now you can always go back to your building because, well, you have your own bar,
Mm-hmm.
so that is definitely home territory.
Still, maybe a little
Although,
too close to home as far as
yeah,
my
you
psyche
don't
is
necessarily
concerned.
want the tenants seeing you freaking out.
True.
Well, you travel a couple more blocks and you find a place called Ed's. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice, generic, once again, hole in the wall style bar.
I look, it's like, yeah, that's familiar. And I need familiar. Okay.
So, are the other two going to join him?
Of course.
So the question is, does it look like it is a big enough place that we can be kind of tucked around like the side of the bar where we can kind of like see the whole place, but without being apparently obvious? Like, what kind of sight lines are we dealing with here?
It
Keep in
is
mind, I'm
big
also
enough
dressed in black with a stealth ability.
I mean, I'm dressed in black too, but I'm not really doing the stealth thing. But
you are slightly conspicuous given the fact that you have things like cat ears in the tail.
True.
But yes, you can get a place that's, kind of away from the door, like where the dartboards are.
that works.
All right. So now back up to Queens. The Suburban takes a while to get all the way over because the other car was, of course, picked up right on the other side of the Bronx. So Crash is able to get there faster.
well, yeah, he always finishes quick.
So you get up
With
to
a big boom.
Anyway, after derailing the adventure here.
Yeah, because that's the only time that's happened tonight.
All
all
right.
right. So you make your way over to Hunts Point, a rather famous place because of a documentary that once took place, but that's in a different universe. So here, of course, there's just tons of warehouses and industrial buildings. And of course, the Hunts Point Cooperative Market and the fish market attached to it, where you see a lot of Adams hang out. In fact, in the neighborhood, it is fairly common to see a couple Adams kind of just wandering around with each other, doing who knows what. But you get to the building, which looks delightfully inconspicuous. And there's doesn't seem to be much of a problem with parking around here because, this place doesn't do any, legitimate business that has customers during the day.
Yeah.
So do you want to scope anything out before your cohort in crime appears?
Absolutely. I'm going to get as much intel on this area as I can. Because again, I can go around invisible. And as long as they don't attack anyone or do anything silly like that, then I stay invisible.
Okay, so the interesting thing, not too far away, is the Bronx City Recycling, which is a part of a on one half the property, wrecking yard on the other, and they just kind of bump into each other with piles of miscellaneous detritus in between them. So there's a few people working there, but fairly quiet. There are a couple suppliers for various markets. So you have a place that supplies like, African and Caribbean foodstuffs, produce distributors, a auto parts place. But once again, these are mostly places where you don't go yourself. Whichever shop you go to goes there to go buy stuff, because that's kind of the whole economy here. But it is surprisingly quiet. Like a few delivery trucks cruising here and there, people working. Almost everybody's just, kind of keeping to themselves. The people who are walking around do not look like they are worried at all about their safety. So you don't have people doing the usual, like New York City, hunch over and look straight ahead, or people doing the look around as they're cruising around. Everybody's just kind of walking around like they're, like in, hanging out in like Schenectady.
Okay. What is the level of traffic of people going in and out of the building in which we are particularly interested?
Nobody is coming or going from there.
Okay. Give me the layout of doors, windows, security cameras. What are we looking at?
So it is a smallish building. There is a parking lot right next to it. It seems to share with another building. Somebody who sells electrical components, like wire and switches and other fun things like that. So it has one primary door facing out to the street, and on the parking lot side, it has another door with the loading dock door next to it. The door facing the street has a nameplate on it, which is Dimitri's Imports. It's not a terribly friendly looking building, though, that the windows are all barred over. The little window on the door has a grating on top of it that is welded to the steel door. The mail slot looks, kind of threatening. You think there might be like, some sort of tripwire attached to it or something. You're not quite sure, but certainly, nothing you want somebody to try to reach into. You hope the mailman's okay or knows what he's doing there. And there are cameras on the building itself that look specifically at the front door and the back door, but that's it. The neighboring places do have the ability to see parts of this building, but it doesn't look like anybody's going out of their way to surveil this building. It's just that they're kind of watching out, in front of our place, and it happens to be across the street.
How tall is this building?
This building's 2 stories.
Okay. I'm going to zip up to the roof and see what I can find as far as any potential methods of ingress from the roof.
Okay, on the roof, you have a couple very old style skylights. So they're the big glass domes, and they are frosted over. You're not sure whether or not they can open. They don't look like they've been opened in quite some time. And the other possible means of ingress is that there is a trap door in the one corner. You would presume for access to the roof for maintenance. Looks like one of the types that there's a ladder underneath it from the hallway or in a closet or something on the second story. And this, once again, doesn't look like it's been opened anytime recently.
Is this something that I think I could find a nice metal bar or something and wedge open, or because I figure Crash would be pretty good at like figuring that kind of stuff out because he has loads and loads of experience.
So you can probably jimmy the lock for it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not overly complicated.
Yeah.
The downside is going to be that the hinges are probably going to be noisy as all fuck.
Yep.
Unless you like get to lubricating them well in advance.
Which I have many things, but WD-40 is unfortunately not one of them.
Always wondered that about heist movies, that very rarely do you have like a squeaky hinge somebody's prepared for.
Yeah.
I mean, I have duct tape.
I have a bag of sand. Where did I get the
And
sand from?
WD-40. I have the...
All right. Well, then, I mean, I will certainly comms into Jack and bring him up to speed and say, you know, like I say, I'm on the roof, which seems to be our most, brain. The word just went away. The most surreptitious means of entry, but we may be dealing with like leaky, rusty hinges and shit like that.
Okay, well, that's an easy fix. Question is, why aren't we just going through the front door?
Because legitimate or not, the element of surprise should never be underestimated.
Okay, well, you know, I just learned from the hard way that surprising arms dealers is not always the, you know,
True.
get you the most friendly reception.
Unfortunately, what our lovely contact did not give us was the code word.
Right.
I mean, I suppose we could try Mr. X sent us.
It's worth a shot, yeah.
All right. I guess I'll meet you at the front door then.
Or we can go through. I can meet you at the roof if you want. I just would rather not, you know, take a face full of double-aught buck if we can avoid it.
Okay. So you find the place fairly easily, and there's a parking lot right there, conveniently. And so how are you going to mount the roof?
They're not a fire escape?
Interestingly, no.
Or we can go through the front door. It doesn't need, we don't need to overthink this.
Okay. I will, you know, basically bounce down windowsill to windowsill to windowsill. Catching myself on the bars if need be.
So Crash manifests next to you, out of nowhere. You head into the building. So you get to the front door. The door, there's a doorbell next to the door that says, a little plaque on it, please ring.
Bing bong.
Your speaker cracked to life. Da.
Das wäre eine Danya.
Tell me Jack speaks Russian.
I've heard that you're a collector of sorts. A mutual friend has
yes, he called it. He called in advance. By all means,
excellent.
come in. You're on the door. So it opens up into a, delightfully seemingly empty space. He doesn't have like a shop set up in here. There's a few things floating around. There's a car parked next to the loading dock. You would imagine it's probably his. And the gentleman, Dmitri, is just sitting on a folding chair in nearish the middle of the room.
Yeah, smart choice not to keep the inventory.
Oh, indeed, yes. Police get curious. Heroes get curious. Villains get curious. So I don't keep anything up here.
Yeah, it's good not to attract unwanted attention.
So, what sort of equipment are you looking for?
Looking for a rifle with an integral suppressor. 9x39 is preferable because, like Atropos, I too would like to cut some threads. But, barring that, HK.
The long range sniper rifle, something like that.
Something like that. Suppression and ease of portability are definitely factors. I know that limits effective range out to 300 meters, but that'll do.
We can work around that if you want. We do have something. It's unusual, perhaps experimental, but it can definitely very quietly shoot a very long range.
I'm reliably.
I have never shot it, so I don't know. I acquired it. They were very upset they lost it, so I assume it's good. Let me show you. He gets up out of his chair, walks to the back side of the room where you have like the door for the stairs going upstairs, and he calls up the freight elevator, which instantly opens because he's the only one here, and beckons you inside.
Okay.
So, Crash, are you joining them or are you hanging out upstairs?
I am going to join them. However, I'm taking note of any other people, positions, general attitudes.
There's nobody else in here. It's just him, his car, and his folding chair. When you go downstairs, it opens up into the basement level of this place, and it is just wall-to-wall metal racks with boxes and other stuff hanging on it. And on the walls, there's just racks and racks of various types of conventional arms. There's like tons of pistols. They're like, grouped together quite nicely. He seems to keep a tidy place. Smells very much like gun oil or machining oil in the place.
Yep.
And he goes down along the walls. He's like, okay, so we have, of course, the M15, a classic, not necessarily the best range. With a suppressor, still fires fairly well, easy to find parts for. Moves on further to a couple of the monster rifles, like, of course, we have our Barrett 50s. Once again, very common, very well known, difficult to suppress.
And carry, too. It's not
yes.
terribly conspicuous.
You could go past the Lapua ones, and then he gets to the end of the long rifles, and there is not so much a rifle sitting there as a device. It does not look like anything particularly designed by human standards. It doesn't have like a shoulder stock and a sight on it, and it's just kind of slightly weirdly shaped. Looks more like a long stick with a kind of flangy end on it than it does a rifle. This, here we go, is the experimental equipment. Gently takes it out, hands it to you.
It's not made out of large polygons that are occasionally just rippling and, returning to form, is it?
No, fortunately not. It's not a service weapon. But you're looking at it, and it dawns on you where you've seen this. When New York City was destroyed during the invasion, some of the demon creatures were carrying these and shooting at the heroes quite often. How one of these survived and ended up into this guy's possession, you're not quite sure. But
and in functional condition.
We also know not to ask.
Yeah, you figure most of those were destroyed during the cataclysmic explosion that killed all of the demons that were coming through, or in the massive implosion that sucked them all back into the dimension they came from, along with no small amount of the former New York City. But here it sits, in seemingly good order. Dimitri's, I have to be honest, I do not fully understand all of its workings or quite its firing mechanism. I do know that it will turn on. If you hold it with both hands, you will hear it charge.
You don't happen to have a range or someplace where we can test this?
Oh, of course I have a range. He goes to the other side of the room, opens up a door, and in it is a parallel, kind of basically it's a hallway that has a beaten up mannequin at the far end of it. So it can give you just under 50 yards worth of range.
Yeah. It'll do for now. At least let us know if this thing's actually working.
Okay. So in order to fire it the first time, you have to make an intellect check.
Okay.
Do you have any skills that would... Actually, I will be kind. I will let you make a cryptography check at
Okay.
a difficulty of 5.
All right. Let's see how this goes.
So you pick it up, you hold it, and as he says, you can actually hear like a very low, very quiet humming slowly building up in pitch. Kind of like a really slowed down version of an old flash as its capacitors charge up off of the batteries. And eventually it reaches in a fairly short time, reaches, kind of a level pitch, holding it. And then eventually you figure out, just how to grip it just right. And then it fires. You don't see a bolt of anything coming out of it, of course. It does not recoil, but it does a marvelous job of hitting the mannequin and blowing it into pieces. Like, you kind of have to duck and turn as like fragments of plaster and stuff are flying your way.
Impressive.
So apparently it does have some sort of sighting mechanism on it. I do not understand it, but they were seen shooting these at fairly decent range, so I presume it's there somewhere. But it's some sort of alien or infernal technology. I'm not quite sure, but you look like a smart individual. You should be able to figure it out.
Certainly. So how much?
Oh, and of course, the added bonus, it folds up. If you take the whole apparatus, rotate it, and then you can compress it down to about 2 feet long. I don't know where the inner workings go when this happens. Once again, I just sell them. I don't produce them.
All right. So, price.
That is going to be a bit steep. Let's say perhaps 10,000.
Okay. That is a bit steep. What form of currency are you?
Cash, precious metals, possibly in trade, depending. But cash is always good.
Cash is good.
Gold is good as well.
Gold is good. What sort of trade items are you looking for?
It would have to be something as exotic as it. So if you have anything perhaps alien in origin or unusual, especially something that can be used to hurt things, that is my specialty.
Of course. How much time do we have to close on this?
Well, how much time do you think you need?
Yeah, I need to check with my backer and secure funding.
Okay, let's call it. It's on reserve for you for how about a week?
That sounds good. Do you have anything, more mundane for backup?
Oh, there's point to the wall. Anything you could want. I have one of just about everything.
Venturus, the M variant.
Oh, yes. I got one from my brother. Pulled it off of his corpse myself. Pulls it off the wall, slaps it down, grabs some shells, boom.
Pick it up, do the press check.
It's in perfect condition. And it's been well loved, so let's say 500.
Okay. Well, put this on reserve too, please, and I will be in touch sooner than a week.
Excellent. Thank you. It's always good to do business.
Definitely. Always good to
All
do
right.
business.
So back to the bar. So how schlocked are you getting during your time there?
Oh, I just need the, amphetamine pumped butterflies to calm their tits.
So completely and
And just
utterly
be able-
sloshed.
Hey,
No, I won't
hey.
let him get that sloshed.
Only mildly sloshed.
All right. So you have yourself a few good drinks, let a couple hours pass. And then you're sitting there and you're like, you should probably start getting ready. You want to make sure you're looking your best.
Mm-hmm.
So you get up from your chair, and you're only slightly unsteady on your feet, and the other two are like, he didn't look like he was drinking that much.
Here we go.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. But no. Let me go back.
You head back to your place.
And hold on.
And so
I have a preparation. Okay. I have a preparation.
Uh-oh.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we may be looking at our first cosplay for the powers that be. That would be very, very cool. We're all sitting here in suspense to see what Ray is going to come back at us with.
With bated breath here.
Right?
Take a mint.
Oh, good Lord.
Ooh, very nice.
Very
Nice.
nice.
All right, Neo.
I lost my black
you
rimmed
get
ones
yourself-
years ago.
You get yourself all nice and ready for your date. You're like, okay, it's about time. So you head out onto the roof because you can fly, so you do that. So whereabouts are you going to go looking?
I am on the roof, and first I just look around. Because let me tell you how infrequently I just stand on the roof and look around. I'm used to seeing people on the sidewalks. So I
So on your roof, of course, there are crows everywhere. And they all
I
seem to
look
have
ar-
some commentary about you being up there and what you're wearing. You're not quite sure what they're saying, though.
no, I don't.
You don't want to know.
No, I don't. But I think
So
if I
you don't see her
remember,
on any of the adjoining buildings.
Mhm. And okay. So I basically look across and um might as well go in a different direction, at least at first, now that I know where we're going and I can find that. So um I check my pockets because I think I actually had a few peanuts left from something else, and just to clean everything out and make sure I don't fiddle with something that can disintegrate and create a mess. So I toss the remainder. Like, I know it's not enough. I got you covered. I'm busy. And I jump over to the building directly across the street from ours.
Okay. So you zip over there and getting yourself used to, flying in your current outfit with a couple of beers in your belly still.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking around, the sun's starting to go down, and it's kind of nice. People below you are doing things. And of course, as per usual, you note that folks, generally speaking, in Excelsior don't look up because not that they don't expect to see anybody. It's just that there's too many assholes who know how to fly in this town. And so it's not really all that special to them anymore.
Yeah.
There's plenty of delivery people who have the ability to jump or fly, and it makes for really good money. And so that's what they do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody wants to punch out villains, bad as that may seem to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing out, man.
So you cruise around a bit, and then eventually you see what you're looking for. On top of the one of the local billboards is standing an individual dressed up in a broad cowboy hat, a duster, wearing chaps, a rifle slung over the back of her, over the back, just underneath her duster, and of course, on her waist, a pair of glorious six-shooters. And just sitting there watching you fly.
Howdy.
Tips her head up. Not a partner.
I will say you have a flair for the unique.
Oh, don't we all, though? Don't we all? You have to have a theme to work with, right?
Themes are
It
nice.
is a different outfit than the one she was wearing last time, which didn't look quite as sharp as this one does.
Mm-hmm. Sharp's a word.
Yeah, she's wearing a very nice outfit. It's very fitting with the theme. She could probably step onto any Western set and fit in.
Okay. Well, I hope you like Greek.
Oh, dinner first. Excellent. How to treat a lady. So, do you want to
I'm-
walk or do you want to ride over there? Or do you want to take a stroll in the park? It's up to you.
Jean is very much just trying to keep things on the level because she's here trying to turn it to 11 and we don't need a repeat of earlier. Let's I think for right now, walking. It's only a couple of blocks.
All right. She pulls her hat down a little bit more, jumps off the top of the billboard, poof, and lands on the ground.
Pretty
Apparently
good padding you
jump.
got in those boots there.
As you gently drift down onto the ground. So, where are we going?
What was the name of the place?
Costantino's or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, Costantino's, home of the
Costantino's.
souvlaki.
Apparently
Oh.
they have the
I have
souvlaki.
never been.
Well, neither.
Well, let's
have-
go.
Okay.
She scoops her arm up underneath yours, so you are holding onto her arm. Well, let's go then. And she starts walking. And as you're walking, the one thing that bothers you is the fact that her one pistol keeps kind of bouncing up against your leg.
I hate it when that happens.
And she's glad to see you.
Clearly.
So you're walking down the street, a couple police officers walk past and they eye her arsenal a bit suspiciously and then look at you and then look at her and like just keep walking.
So after we pass one, the first instance in that, and like noticing that it's kind of I'm getting bounced by that, I look at her, it's like I try to conjure up the most smooth, suave thing that I can say. It's like, golly, I sure hope those aren't loaded.
God.
Half a city awake.
I am
Crash
ready
is
to go
cringing
off
and
at a
doesn't know why.
moment's notice.
Lord,
She
please
just leans into you.
bless this man with game.
For he lacketh such.
Oh, big time. Gaming.
So she sidles up to you a bit more and says, well, I'm ready to go off at a moment's notice. And winks
And in
at
my
you.
mind, it's like, I was afraid she was going to say that. We can do this. We can do this. Just keep walking. Just keep walking.
So you make your way over to the restaurant and you are greeted by the owner, of course. He's like, oh, hello, your table is ready, sir.
Thank
Takes you
you.
into the back to one of the nice tables. So the other two, are you showing up early or late?
Oh, we're already there.
Yeah, early so that she doesn't see us walk in.
Probably
So
for the
you,
best.
as you're walking towards the table, kitty corner from your table are your two friends sitting there eating dinner.
Kitty corner, you say.
Yes. They're not right next to your table, but just diagonally across from it.
The sight lines.
Earshot.
Look like the cat
The
that ate
third
the canary.
the third seat at their table, by the way, has a crow just perched on top of it.
And this is why I'm glad I'm wearing shades, because they can't see my eyes get this big. And they're like, wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Knox actually starts to caw laugh.
Right.
And the crows outside start calling too.
Yeah.
You guys sit down and she orders some wine. And as you're sitting there, she, of course, takes her hat off, puts it on the seat next to her. And she's sitting there just staring right into your eyes the entire time.
You taking off your sunglasses yet?
Hey,
I get
can
another
we-
beer. And I raise a glass, and I raise my bottle and clink with her wine glass, and just go to saving the city.
Oh, yes. There's nothing I believe in more than saving the city.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, there's all sorts that need to be taken care of course. I'm sure you're well aware.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Absolutely.
Of course, you're one of those official heroes, so.
It is true. Yes. Are you?
Oh, no. I've decided not to be on STEM's radar quite yet.
I can't say as I blame you.
Yeah, and I have doubts if they'll find much use in what I can do, or that they might find too much. That's always a question. But I don't mind having a day job. It's rather nice. Just have my own little corner of the world.
You are quite good at it.
Oh, it's all the machine. That thing's amazing.
Yeah. Happen to know the person who
you're
designed it.
Oh, yes, I was actually there when she did it. That thing caused us nothing but problems for years. Then all of a sudden, works gloriously, never fails. It's just wonderful. So while you're sitting there making small talk, and of course your friends are watching you out of the corners of their eyes the entire time, you hear the ding of the door open, and somebody walks in, walks right up to the counter, and Pa, you hear a familiar voice. It is your friendly neighborhood scion, leans forward and says, "You haven't seen a cat, have you?" And the owner looks at him, kind of, no. Well, what kind of cat? A white one, fairly large, mostly white, black tail, bit of black on the head. You haven't seen that cat at all, have you? No. Okay. If you do, here, please, pulls out his card. Call me immediately. This is very important. And if you could possibly ask some of the customers as they come in if they have. It's a very important cat, and it's currently missing. And, so we could use some assistance. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. And the owner, his eyes kind of glaze over a bit. Okay, I will help you find the cat. And he looks around the room and then spots the two of you. And then walks over to your table. Takes his hat off, of course, showing off his very, very hairless head. Is there any chance the two of you could help me with something?
Are you addressing me and
He's talking
Nebra?
specifically to you. He's talking to both of you, but he's specifically addressing you because you've met.
Sorry, I wasn't clear if for some reason you. Okay.
Yeah, I say it wasn't clear to me as to which table of two he was coming over to.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the audio and video for you are not quite synced
Yeah.
right, so that is just completely throwing me
Ooh.
off.
So does the cat answer to the name Doug? Sorry, internet deep cut
Unfortunately,
there.
no.
It's not Doug the cat.
Hey.
Hey,
A friend of mine,
Yeah.
her cat's missing, and this is very bad. Is there any chance you can help us look for her? I think of the two of you, especially with all the crows and stuff, maybe you can figure out where the cat is.
You have a picture?
No, unfortunately, I do not. The owner doesn't like photography very much. But it's a fairly chunky white cat, black tail, some one of the ears is black and the patch on the forehead. Answers to Esmeralda as much as a cat answers to things. Has gone missing somewhere up here.
So, well,
And her owner is very distressed.
You can keep an eye out for it.
Okay, thank you. And you have my number, right? So if you see a cat, like, just let me know. I can come get the cat. Also, the cat's owner is looking for the cat. Be careful. She's very upset right now and is having difficulty controlling herself.
Right.
okay then.
All right, yeah, thanks. I have to try some more places. Puts on his cap, turns around, storms out the door in a swish of overcoat. Meanwhile, kitty corner from you, at the other table, you notice that your friend is having some issues carrying on the conversation well.
put it mildly.
Right,
Is there any
me?
way we can quickly teach the crows to sing "Kiss the Girl"?
So, but they order some food, and he hasn't managed to choke himself on what he's eating, which is good. But you also notice that she's not terribly good at carrying on the conversation either, which you don't know if that's unusual for him. You know that he's actually quite good at talking to people, except in this situation apparently. But she doesn't seem nervous, but she doesn't seem very good at talking to him either. So they're talking about things like menu items, coffee, pretty much anything except anything about themselves.
Toast? I like toast. Do you like toast?
Oh, you breathe air? I breathe air too.
Common ground. It's all about common ground.
I just start messaging Crash with just a running commentary of how bad this is going, just to keep him as entertained as we are.
So are both Crash and Jack going to head off to Manhattan to see if they can hook up with the scientist?
Sure.
Or the crashes. I'm not going to speak for Jack.
No, I'll tag along. I've got to figure out who I have to rob to get 10 grand, but it's all good.
I mean, I can help you.
If only your team leader was making more money because he's a team leader or something.
Or was good friends with a supervillain who's rich.
Yes, disgustingly, ridiculously wealthy.
And might have an easily hacked crypto wallet. Just saying.
111 1.
It's what an idiot would have on his luggage.
Okay, so you're sitting there. You've gotten through dinner. You've managed to eat everything. You don't feel sick to your stomach, which is good, in spite of the fact that the butterflies are flying around. But apparently, all the oil from the souvlaki dressing really hasn't done a whole lot to calm them down.
Just sitting like
So she leans forward just enough. So, do we want to, maybe do a little patrolling or something?
So, like everything internally almost feels like it seizes up when she says this. And because my brain is looking for any excuse at all, it decides to ask, hey, what's Eddie doing right now?
Oh Lord.
So she asks the question, you kind of
Ooh.
fall back into your consciousness, and Eddie is quiet.
And he says, I'm texting all this to Crash.
Eddie is paying very close attention to what you're doing. Seems fascinated by what's happening.
And I have my mental thought of, I wish I could ask you why, but
So you think that, and you hear back, you're terrified. You're never terrified.
Yep. I'm trying to think because he like
scared.
that's
You've been nervous, but
yeah.
this is a different thing for him entirely.
Yep. So, patrolling, sure. Do we? Yeah, we could do a little round, check things out.
Go a few rounds before we go a few rounds.
put the roll in patrol.
So on your way out, you of course just swipe your card, which delightfully beeps back and doesn't complain. Which, when you were younger, this of course was a much bigger concern, but lately you actually have some cash, which is you're still trying to get used to.
Exactly. So, we exit the establishment, and I ask her, so where's usually your starting point for your route?
I always start right at work. I very much enjoy, just starting up from the roof over there, get a good sight of what's happening in my neighborhood, and then check from around there. Usually head off, a bit towards the west, because you guys, do a great job of taking care of most of the neighborhood. So I mostly keep an eye on the industrial parts up to the north and along the park. There's always some miscreant hanging around in the park for some reason.
Yeah, the park. Mm-hmm. Notice that. So why don't you show me your route, and we can check for knuckleheads.
And then you can
All
show
right.
her your route.
So the other two, you notice as they're walking out, he pays and gives his usual tip, and he's just heading out. She is totally checking out his ass on the way out the door, like using that opportunity, just like
You could bounce a quarter into orbit off that thing, man.
that's America's ass.
America's ass.
Ass.
Yeah.
Excelsior!
So
I
she
figure
heads,
we wait a moment or two after they leave to get up and just
Which
casually
we head out.
stroll.
We head out. What do the crows do?
Of course
the
they
crows are watching
follow.
the two of you as you're
Great.
heading out. She gets out onto the street, looks around, cheers her hat, makes sure her both of her guns are and her pistols are well seated. She crouches down a bit and leaps up onto the building across the street, with her duster trailing behind her.
So I jump up, fly, and land right next to her and say,
Once you
"Is that
land,
a?
she
Is that a? Are you jumping or flying?"
jumping. I unfortunately can't fly.
You could damn near like fool most people.
I practiced a lot. Makes it easier to get around. And then she takes a little bit of a running jump, hops over to the next building, and then starts making her way down the block.
Okay. Is she like just going, or is she waiting for me?
Oh, she's making sure that you're following her.
Okay.
So she keeps checking to make sure that you're not too far behind. She's not a whole,
I'm
she's
not
not a
that
whole lot
old
faster
yet.
than you are.
I'm not that old yet.
Okay, so Paw and Black Ice. So yeah, they've headed out. The crows are making a lot of fuss outside.
Yeah. Go keep an eye on
And they're
them.
reporting back like, and they're reporting back as to like where they're going.
Okay.
So follow at a distance while keeping an eye out for this cat.
I figure I'm going to send some of the other crows to go start looking for this cat.
Okay, so you can explain, yeah. We're looking for a white cat, kind of fat, black tail, black ear.
Mm-hmm.
Crow's like, okay, well, look. And they start scattering off. And so it's actually kind of quiet around the restaurant finally. The owner seems pretty happy about that. And meanwhile, you see that Calamity is jumping along the rooftops. This is something Paw's very familiar with doing, although she doesn't seem to be able to jump quite as far as you do. She can clear between buildings pretty easily, but not you're able to jump like whole blocks at a time. She is not doing that. They're heading off, towards Sunbucks, it looks like. Were you to guess?
I kind of look at her going, you're the one who can jump and follow.
Yeah.
I pull
I
out my
would-
skateboard and go, I'll meet you at Sunbucks.
Okay. So I, jump along at, a little bit of distance, basically, kind of throttle the jets a little bit so I'm not jumping past them.
You could just like hang out on top of one of the tall buildings, slap till they get to the next one, and then just over to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Give you time to like crouch down and get a good butt wiggle before you pounce.
Well, the butt wiggle is very important with, the whole sizing it, figuring out the trajectory.
Absolutely.
Yep. You have to like, both sides, just make sure you get it right, because if you land wrong, you'll look like an idiot.
It's a cat math thing,
Yep. Gotta, wiggle the tail a little bit to calibrate. And
All right, so Crash and Jack.
Yes.
You
Yes.
are in a diner in just off of Midtown Manhattan. It is a it's trying to look like a greasy spoon diner, but it certainly is not. As you can tell, like all the wait staff is dressed like wait staff. All the linens are nice and crisp and everything. And you're trying to enjoy whatever diner fare that you got that costs way more than a similar thing would cost in any diner elsewhere in the entire nation.
Yep.
Across the bridge in Jersey, especially. Floor's not sticky though.
No, it is not. No, the floor is very well cleaned. You're rather happy about that. And all the chrome on everything in the entire place is very polished. If somebody were like use flash photography in here, they'd blind everybody.
Yep. Be the J.J. Abrams lens flare of doom.
So you're hanging out, and then eventually you note that 3 or 4 scientists walk in. You can tell they look like scientists because they are wearing the STEM standard scientist lab coat. One and all. And you saw those when, or at least Crash saw that when you all took the test, because that's what all of the testers were wearing. And they're still wandering around out in public dressed like that. And they sidle up to the counter and order themselves an array of diner food. One person has some pie, another person has, a club sandwich with fries, and one of them gets the burger. And one of the scientists, a woman, is kind of looking around the room suspiciously, and then eventually spots the two of you, and then proceeds to try to ignore you while talking to her colleagues.
Puddle, I see.
So
I say that to Crash, not her.
Positively inconspicuous.
All right, so your date is going fine so far. You go out to Sunbucks, you're hanging out on the roof, and she's checking stuff on, kind of explaining, some of her methodology, and well, yeah, because you guys over there is where the bar that you guys apparently burned down is.
Hey, we had
new
good
building
reason
there.
for that.
Oh, I imagine. One doesn't just burn down a club for no reason, especially after the stuff happened around there. Because
Oh, sure.
I don't even know which game that was. Not that whenever they come around, I just cannot understand a damn thing they're talking about. It's in English, but what they're saying is, well, between the horrible accents and whatever slang they're using, nobody understands. I did not understand that stuff. But they haven't been around a whole lot lately, which is nice. So thank you very much for that.
Very welcome.
So, so what are your you dating anybody else or?
Oh, no, I'm not. I've gone through a rough patch recently, dealing with a lot.
Crash looks down,
I get that.
reads the text message on the phone, looks up at Jack. On second thought, she's as subtle as they come.
Kind of like a brick, yeah. Question is our boy here going to actually pick up on the hint?
No.
Yeah. So you've had a bad time before?
You can say that a number of ways.
That's really rough when that happens. It's you have a hard time trusting people, and yeah. He looks kind of off to the distance wistfully. Says, speaking of which, is there some hooligans over there?
And I slowly gaze over in her direction. Why, goodness. So it is.
Do you want to beat up some hooligans?
Sure, why not? I can get this shirt cleaned.
Okay. So, indeed, across the park, you see a group of 4 hooligans, more or less minding their own business, which is shocking because typically they're not minding their own business. They're being a bunch of flaming jerks, but they're hanging out and they're hooligans. They're quite obviously hooligans. You can tell because whatever soccer team they follow, you're not sure, but they're wearing its colors with their scarves and shouting at each other with you guess insults, but you can't quite get what they're talking about because once again, British slang stuff. You imagine it's pretty scathing. One of them looks a bit embarrassed. So we move over to Jack, Don, Crash hanging out at the restaurant. One of the scientists finishes their pie and bids goodnight to the others and heads out. Then the one finishes half of their club sandwich, goes, "Oh, I could not possibly eat another bite." It wasn't a big club sandwich, by the way, so you're not quite sure what's going on there. But they leave the club sandwich and 2/3 of the fries on the table, slap some money on the counter, and then head off for the night after bidding the other one goodnight. And then the last one is still sitting there, kind of staring at their American-style cheeseburger.
Out of curiosity, how long was it between when the two left?
Not phenomenally long, like 10-15 minutes, and in between the other two were still talking.
Okay, so it long enough that it doesn't look staged.
No.
To the untrained eye.
Grabbing a meal after work from the looks of it.
I say,
Right.
Can I make an assessing danger check or something similar to see if I think it was staged?
Yes, you can totally do that.
Sure. What's my difficulty?
That will be, let's see. Depends on how much you want to find out. If you want to see if it was staged, that'll be a 4. For a 5, you will be able to find, more or less the any other underlying motives that are going on, other than just we're staging how people are leaving.
Okay.
Assuming they're up to something.
Yeah. If I tell Jack what I'm thinking and ask his lovely little calculating brain for some help, could I get 1 or 2 assets on this?
Oh, certainly.
1 or 2.
Give it 2. It's Jack. Jack is very, very good at figuring shit out.
Okay. All right. In that case, not to the. So I'm rolling against originally the 5.
Okay.
And I get it. So
all right.
In fact, all told, I would have beaten a 6.
So the two of you kind of knock heads together a bit, look at what's going on, and it comes to you what's happening. They didn't stage their leaving, but the reason that the one hung out a little longer, they're concerned what's going on with their colleague. They think something's up with them, but they don't know what. You kind of got from like some of the.
Sorry, no, go on.
So you kind of get from like their nonverbal communication that's like this person's worried that something's up with their colleague, and they said they don't know what it is, and the colleague isn't really being forthcoming with it.
Okay.
So the one who's worried was that the woman who looked at us.
That was the second
earlier?
one to leave.
Okay.
No. The woman who looked at you earlier is Miss American style cheeseburger with one bite out of it at this point, who is still sitting there pretending just to, do something other than sit there by themselves at this point.
Is this one of those places where they have like the little plaques with the table numbers on the outside of the?
Oh, yes.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to take a napkin and I'm going to scribble down want to talk, table, and then whatever our table number is. I will get up. I will excuse myself, get up, go into the men's room, phase invisible, not run by at super speed because I don't want the whole gust of wind thing to happen. And just kind of, lay it down at her table, and then go back and come back out of the bathroom invisible.
So she picks up on it quickly. She's a scientist after all, so she's very smart. Pays attention to what's going on. Looks at the note. Blots the corner of her mouth a bit. Crumbles it up a bit. Picks up her plate with her cheeseburger on it and her frosty Coca-Cola glass, and sits herself down at your table.
I move over.
Are you sitting across from each other?
Yeah.
Okay, so she will sit next to Jackdaw.
Okay.
So she kind of nudges you over. And he's like, have to slide in.
Oh no! So I figured that Jackdaw and Crash were sitting opposite each other.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So she's sliding in
Okay,
next to me
Okay.
You're in
to
a booth.
face you.
Just
Just turn to her.
The only chairs are at the counter,
Yeah.
which have the stools on them. So you'd have to slide over in the booth that you're sitting in.
Yep. I do. Turn to her. I'm like,
She takes another bite of her burger, puts it down, looks at the two of you, gives a bit of a nod, leans forward. So, can you help?
Depends on
So-
what you're looking for.
Neva, you're rolling down the street at a breakneck. You don't care a whole lot about how long it takes you to get where you're going, so you're just kind of scooting along at a nice lackadaisical pace. Crows are flying this way and that around you, and as you approach a corner, the street lights start flickering.
Well, I break my board and I look around. Because
From down one of the streets, you hear a woman saying, "Kitty." Not like without like any emotional inflection, whatever, just kind of saying the word. And there's a pause. The lights flicker some more. You hear it again. "Kitty." Seems to be getting closer.
All right. I'm guessing this is the one that the Scion warned us about. So I grab my phone and I call Pa to say, you may want, and to try and at least get the guy's number, if not get her to call the guy. And say, found the cat's owner. Still haven't found the cat yet.
So drifts into the middle of the intersection. A fairly tiny person. You have seen them before, strangely enough, when you went over to the clinic. About 5 feet tall, very, very bald, wearing a best stated as perhaps a diaphanous outfit. It's very little of it. It's not a whole lot of it is touching her. She is, of course, like utterly, bereft of any hair, has very little pigmentation aside from spots on her skin that are kind of red. And except for the weird thing is all of the tattoos covering her, which are some kind of combination of lightning bolts and circuitry that are traced all over her skin in a very nice, rich blue indigo color. She hovers more so into the middle of the intersection, looking around, very, very concerned look on her face. Once again, "Kitty." And is not even slightly paying attention to you. While she's there, you note that the street lights start bending towards her. And they flicker a bit more, and cracks start appearing on the ground beneath her.
Yeah, I text friggin' jackass and I'm like, okay, you need to come and get your friend now. This is where she is. This is what she is doing. We will keep looking for the damn cat.
He replies back, "I'm looking for the cat. She's dangerous right now. Don't get near her.
Somebody has to do something. I ain't going near this crazy woman.
This
Because
is gonna be on all
electricity and water don't mix very well.
Yes.
Even
No, I'm thinking that this
water.
might end up having to be an all hands on deck kind of thing, because
Yeah.
I think I can only dodge, electrical, lightning bolt, whatever stuff so much.
Yep. So at the very
She
least, I
drifts
turn
across
to
the
my cat.
intersection.
I turn to the crows and go find that goddamn cat now. And they
She looks
scatter.
at a car parked on the corner. It lifts up, rotates to show her the underside of it. Not seeing a cat underneath it or whatnot, she just lets it go, falls into the ground, now sideways, with a nice loud bang and shattering of glass, and continues drifting down the street. And we will leave ourselves with that image for the night.
All right. So that was
Right.
that was issue 20 of the Powers That Be. This one was called Date Night. We're going to take a quick break, come back into our after show, and then get out of here. If you guys, once again, if you guys like what we do, like, subscribe, tell your friends. I would love to see this concurrent viewers count have, double digits at some point. That would be awesome. Drop us a line, let us know what you think, talk about us in the comments. But in the meantime, for Patrick, Julie, Patrick, Ekat, Matt, Julie, and Ray, there we go. I am Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple. Have a good night, everybody.
Dude.